أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, نعمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له من يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بالهدى ودين الحق وليظهره الله أدني كله ولو كاره المشركون. Alhamdulillah, it's always special for me to be before you, my beloved brothers and sisters at Masjidun-Nur. I feel like you're my traveling partners. You know, we're moving in a direction, and hopefully, inshallah, it will be one that's pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes it's necessary to restate the obvious. So I wanted to just touch on briefly levels of our nafs. But before that, let me say that whomsoever Allah guides, there is no one that can misguide him. Whoever is led astray does so. It's their choice. So I bear witness that there is no God but one God, and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the messenger and seal of the prophet. As I mentioned earlier, I want to restate the obvious because this day and time, you look and you see what's going on in the material world. The appetites that are being, developed in our youngsters. We have to really guide ourselves and hold fast into teaching our youngsters. I'm happy to see a brother here today with his little sibling. I mean, his little daughter or son, I don't know. Alhamdulillah. I want to speak about an-nafs al-amra. And it's that which is wholly evil, and it is overpowered by passion and obeys their dictates gladly. It tries to find the ways and means of gratifying them, and the light of reason is almost denied to it. It makes no distinction between the higher and the lower self. The light of reason is almost denied to it. It makes no distinction between the higher and lower self, for the lower self has become the ideal self to it. And if you look, you can see that those who have not embraced Islam and are more geared toward material things in this life, which is nothing wrong with having material things in this life. But your appetite can go so unchecked, by knowledge, that you will find yourself where I'm describing now. And it gives itself over to the lower self. And the lower self has become the ideal self to it. This attitude of the human soul is designated by the Quran as a nafs al-amara. The self, instigating self, the inciting and instigating self. The nafs al-lawama is named by the Quran nafs al-lawama, and it's described as the reproaching self. That which cannot decide and remains wavering in making the choice between good and evil, and is constantly subjected to an inner struggle on this count. Sometimes it is under the sway of one, and sometimes of the other. It is capable of doing both good and evil, and it feels the clear distinction between the lower and the higher self, but finds itself totally unable to overcome the powerful impulses of the baser self, which bursts forth occasionally. And this attitude is named by the Quran as nafs al-lawama, the reproaching self. And with that, this rational self is called by the Quran an-nafs al-mutma'inna. And al-mutma'inna, the fixedly good, illuminated consciousness. It has received the light and therefore always acts according to the dictates of reason. The evil element has been rendered ineffective, and now there is scope for the development of constructive qualities alone. And this is the stage where the distinction between the higher and the lower self, which is the true self, has now become the master. Man has achieved perfect freedom, and this rational self is called by the Quran an-nafs al-mutma'inna. I wanted to share that because just in observing things that are taking place in the society and the appetites that people are nurturing within themselves, there's no connection between them and their Lord. The Quran has added new dimensions to the study of the physical phenomena and helps man's mind to go beyond the betas of the material universe, those who relish in materialism. And it has shown him that matter is not to be despised as something mean or low, since it has signs leading man toward God's, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his mysteries and attributes. The entire universe, with its vast space, is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the Quran invites man to study it and develop and discover for himself the mysteries and wonders and endeavor to use its widespread resources for his benefit. The Quran takes man to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by means of his creation. If you look, you can see the signs in creation that clearly let you know that there's no one that they know of has developed this other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so this is what true science does. It observes and then deduces physical laws. On the basis of that observation and experiment, science thus reaches the creator by observing with good precision the exactness, the laws governing nature or the natural phenomena, and the Quran points to this great intellectual reality through its creation. This is the point. The denial of this reality leads to what? Anarchy and confusion, and robs individuals of peace and tranquility. See, this is what the rat race would do. And it's always been messages about the rat race. Even Bob Marley spoke about the rat race. And it will take you into a zone which I have described earlier with the naps. They become fully evil. So I'm mentioning these facts because we have to gear ourselves up. We have to really step up our pace. I'm happy to see the brother here with his daughter, because their little minds we must protect, and at the same time teach them about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those who relish in materialism, they may fully reap the benefits from the bounties of Allah and enjoy a life of luxury and plenty. And there's nothing wrong with having nice things. But in this state of ingratitude, the Creator, to the Creator, he is deprived, man is deprived himself of the real peace of mind and happiness. For material abundance and richness does not provide full mental and spiritual satisfaction to man. Questions such as, who are we? From where have we come? And to where will we go? What is the universe? Who created it? And who controls it? What will become of it? What is the purpose of our creation? Are we just like other creatures? All these and many other similar questions will remain unanswered and will continue disturbing the peace of the human mind. Man's mind remains on the lower level of that of beasts. Understand that? You can see it until he recognizes his creator. Traveling with these appetites that go unchecked by now. He will eat, drink, and multiply like an animal, and die like an animal, grabbing other people's property and possessions by force. Social justice in the means of livelihood and in human life in general can only be restored through the belief that there is what? Only one God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tawheed. The role of matter. Listen. Matter or material wealth itself is neither bad or evil. What is bad or evil is the philosophy behind materialism. That nothing exists beyond the material universe. As a materialist, all the efforts of man are towards acquiring and amassing material wealth. Even when it is meant disregarding other people's rights. All this and all his energies are spent in satisfying the lust and desires, completely ignoring the possibility of any other level of life, where he may have a better reward for sacrifices made in this worldly life. And this attitude of life makes man what? Makes him selfish, makes him greedy, and ignoble. The other side of the picture is that of a man who fully realizes the importance of material and the means in his life and makes full use of them, exploring their potentialities and powers and benefiting from them. But recognizes them as what? As gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And has due regard for human values and other people's rights and obligations. A man with this philosophy considers material wealth as a means and not an end in itself. Through its use, he can acquire better morals, better spiritual qualities, In other words, he uses material objects to gain moral excellence and has no love for them in themselves. And therefore, he will neither disgrace any honor, despise any moral values, but will gladly show preference to others over his own interests and welfare. He will value the reward of the hereafter more than the benefits of this life. And this is why I feel so privileged and feel like I'm amongst my companions, the frontline sisters, those who are here every week, like clockwork, brothers who come here to what? To hear what Allah said, to help us to go through the coming week. Alhamdulillah. And this is the right approach to materialism. The approach to matter neither bores the righteous nor makes him despise matter, but rather makes him see wonders and secrets in creation. And this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. And his excitement at these wonders brings him back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and makes him better worship. So what is important? How do we gear ourselves up this day and time? How do we navigate, amongst all of this that we're surrounded by? How do we navigate? Alhamdulillah. Hold on to the rope, your salah, your relationship with your Lord. Hold on to it. If you fall short, you recognize it, and you will at that point. The more you chip away, the sounder you will become. But if you don't, Shaitan got something for you. He got something for you. He's described as a slinking prompter. And he'll come at you at every turn. You're talking about the lower naps, the brothers who cannot compliment a mate or they're not married. Shaitan will be on you. And your only safeguard is your relationship with your Lord. That's your greatest safeguard. Because he will pull you. He will lure you. In fact, listen at this. It's through the study of matter and observation of its mysteries and secrets that one sees real glory and majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Matter displays Allah's signs to man, testifies to his being, and guides man's heart. Guides man's heart. Habits of the heart are the more important possessions to watch over and improve upon. We can wake up to this reality. But man often gets absorbed in the material things. that his morals gets lost in the concern of material necessities in this life. He's misled by his desires and becomes satisfied with his limited outlook. I got it going on. Can't see past your eyelash. I got it going on. Quran tries to introduce such people in a very simple and straightforward way to the idea of the Creator, to the idea of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It invites them to first to look around at the material environment and then gradually take their minds upward in different levels. Understanding of the realities of this universe. And through knowledge and understanding, it brings them closer to the realities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of heaven and earth, and all that lies in between. No associates, no partners. Where they see signs of the Creator in everything and realize that their ultimate destiny, the material level of this life, they can go beyond. Observation shows extreme what? You observe nurture the stability, the balance, the mizan in the laws. You need that balance. That's how we navigate through this dunya world. When you look at the laws of the universe, it is in fact a reflection of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Master. Secular materialism fails to comprehend the world beyond the borders of its material structure. But the Quran invites the human mind to know and understand its real value and what? Power. By first studying and observing the physical phenomena of the universe and then reflecting on these wonders and mysteries, thus leading the mind on to imagine the majesty and grandeur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we reflect. When we reflect, this is what we want to reflect on, because it will enable you to place your feet along that elevating path through which your upright human nature can ascend to its ultimate perfection. You're on the move. We have to hold on to the rope, not with just our hands or our teeth, feet holding on. This is what we do. This is what we need to do. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you to be here today. Not because of what I'm saying, but because what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to you. He favored you and enabled you to be right here, sitting here, this Friday at Jumu'ah. Let us hold on to the rope, teach our children, keep them out of prison. Who is the creator and controller of all laws and phenomena of the universe? Who runs it? Who has made these laws and can change them whenever he wills? Not being bound by any law or limitation, as humans are, we can create things and worlds. He can create things and worlds whenever he wills. To him is due the primal origin of the heavens and the earth and everything that lies in between. He decrees a matter, and what does he say? Kun fayakun. Be and it is. Read it in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 117. And there is nothing beyond his power. If he so pleases, he could blot you out and bring a new creation. And that is not at all difficult for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Read it. Read about it in Surah 35. You can read it. And in Surah Al-Waqiyah, we read this. It is we who have created you. Will you then admit to the truth? Do you then see? The human seed that you emit, is it you who created it? Or are we created? We have decreed death to be your common lot, and we are not to be frustrated from changing your forms and creating you again in forms that you know not. And just look at how things change year after year, repeating the same. Read about it in Surah 56. You can read it there. All the processes of creation in the universe are completely under control and direction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who has given it perfect form. Its laws and phenomena which pervade with regularity, I just mentioned. Yeah. It happens. Allah has, in fact, created the universe with millions and millions of galaxies, millions of stars and planets, which follow the order ordained for them with perfection. And this stability and perfection, according to the Quran is a reflection of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He who created 7 heavens in harmony. You can see no fault in the beneficent in his creation. Then look again, can you see any fault? Then look again, and yet again, your sight will come back to your weakened and worn out. And you can read that in Surah 67. Everything in the universe follows the law of the Creator. Even if you look at the animal world, you see they have a set structure. A cow doesn't reach total growth and become a horse. It remains a cow. It's clocked. It's geared that way. I wanted to focus in on rabbit because the Holy Quran hints at the laws of evolution, which is working in the universe. And there's no single word in English carrying the significance of the word rabbit. Nourisher to perfection. We say this every day. We mention this, we ask for guidance in the Al-Fatiha 5 times a day. We're asking the Lord of all the worlds, our nourisher. And this is how we are brought to perfection. And it's going to happen. This is on the day of judgment. You will be accountable for everything that you did in this life. And this is when you'll know what the outcome of your actions were. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent messenger after messenger after messenger to keep you on that straight path so that on Yom Kippur, you can be of those who enter into this paradise. And this is what we're striving for. See, it's not the end for us here, but it's the materialist, it's colossal, it's closed for them. This is all they're gonna get, not getting nothing else. And look at the word that's translated as worlds, is alamin, which is plural of alam. And from the root ilm, to know, indicating literally that by means of which one knows a thing, enhances and signifies world of creation because by the Creator is known. By it, the Creator is known. In a restricted sense, it is applied to any class of division of created things or of mankind. Al-Amin has been translated as nations, and you can read this in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 47, and elsewhere. And the all-encompassing comprehensiveness of the leadership of Allah in the very first words of the Quran is quite in consonance, and they use the term cosmopolitan nature of the religion of Islam, and which requires an admission of the truth of the prophets of all nations. And this we say in Al-Fatiha, the beneficent, the merciful, master of the day of requital. And in some translations, they have adopted the word king as the translation of the word Malik, which is not correct. When you look at Malik and Malik, there's a reason why brothers who choose the name Malik put Abdul in front of them, servant of the master. See, these are two different words, Malik and Malik. It sounds like you just repeat the same thing over and over. But it's two different words from the same root. And the former signifying master and the latter king. So according to the rule of forming derivations in Arabic, an additional letter as the alif in Malik gives the meaning a greater intensity. And hence, a master is more than a king. The adoption of the word Malik, or master, is to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not guilty of injustice if he forgives his servants, because he is not a mere king, a mere judge, or more properly, a master. Let us ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika. So with closing, my beloved brothers and sisters, it is reported in the hadith of Abu Hurairah, reports that the Prophet said, Al-Taqwa is here. And he pointed to where? And he pointed to his chest 3 times. The successor, Khalid B. Habib, said, upon being asked about taqwa, that you perform the obedience of Allah upon a light from Allah, hoping for the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you abandon disobedience of Allah upon a light from Allah, fearing the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Ibn al-Qayyim, he commented on this saying, this is the best that has been said concerning the definition of taqwa. For indeed, every action must have a beginning, cause to it, and an objective. An action can never be considered to be obedience and a cause to draw one closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until its point of commencement and cause are unadulterated faith, unadulterated iman. Not habit, not base desires, not the wish for praise, or position, nor other such things. Its objective must be the reward that lies with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his good pleasure, and this being the definition of istihsab, the patience of those seeking the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn al-Qayyim, or Qayyim, however you pronounce, said, the one who is truthful does not care about his status in the eyes of the creation. Ibn al-Jawzi said, whoever acts pious for the sake of the creation is in effect worshiping them, although he does not realize it. Sense is compound. Have you thinking what's bad is good and what's good is bad. That's what the dunya can do. This is why we need that relationship with your Lord so you can see clear, keep the clarity. Clinging to the truth as if for dear life should also reflect our reality when we declare our testimony of faith. Guidance and faith are like water for fish. Without them, we cannot survive. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali said, man, were you to go to the door of the governor, he would not receive you or give you any attention. Perhaps he will even prevent you from getting near him. But the King of Kings is saying, whoever comes to me walking, I will go to him running. Yet you turn away from him and you run after another. You have been cheated in the worst of manners, and you have lost out of the severest of ways. Ibn al-Jawzi, he said, the planning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, is better for you than your own planning. And He could deprive you from what you ask to test your patience. So let Him see from you a determined patience, and you will soon see from Him what will give you joy. There's nothing, alhamdulillah. And when I speak, I know I have shortcomings. But I say to you, there's nothing better than what you feel when you make your salat on time. When you come out of salat. A brother told me once, he said, he was from Pakistan. His name was Ahmed. He said, Shukri. He said, you make your early morning prayer, you feel good all day. You miss your prayer, you don't feel good. It's true. It's true. It's true. When you come up out of prayer, when you got all your salats in, you feel good. And can't nobody blow that. You feel good. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali, he said that the worth of every man is judged by what he seeks. None can put a value to one who seeks Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, for this is immeasurable. The ones who seek after the world is too lowly to be valued. Our Shibli said, whoever holds fast to the world will be burned by its blaze until he becomes ashes blown about by the wind. Whoever holds on to the hereafter will be burned by the light such that he becomes a pure gold of the highest quality. And is benefited from it. Whoever holds on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be burned by the light of Tawheed and will become a jewel that is beyond value. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika wa tabaraka ismuka wa ta'ala jadduka la ilaha illa ghayruka. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and continue to protect us. And inshallah, we'll be here next week. And we'll be making our prayers on time, inshallah. We're striving for this perfection and protection. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. God committee, sir.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, qad qamatu salah, qad qamatu salah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Alhamdulillah.